From KPRC2, this is Houston Newsmakers with Cambrell Marshall.
Okay, I admit, I love this video. This is men and women training to become agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. For many years, the unquestionable gold standard of law enforcement in this country, in this hyper-partisan political environment. Some might argue that is not the case anymore, but I'm guessing my guest this morning would beg to differ. This is James Smith. He is the special agent in charge for the Houston division of the FBI. Good morning and welcome. This is your first sit-down interview since you've been in town for a month and a half. Glad to have you. Welcome.
Good morning.
To Houston.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here. Yes, it is my first sit-down interview.
Well, you start with the best. That's a good way to do it. I love that. So how's the adjustment been so far?
Oh, it's been outstanding here in the city. It's been very welcoming from all the citizens and the partners and all. So it's been great. Outstanding. I couldn't ask for anything better.
So my first thing, when I looked at your bio and everything else, how does the pride of North Carolina A&T leave school with a mechanical engineering degree and end up in the FBI?
Well, I would say it's in my blood. My father was a police officer back in Massachusetts. I have a lot of relatives, cousins, and all that were state troopers in Massachusetts and Connecticut. My sister's a probation officer, so I mean, it's in my blood. It's in my blood, and it's been great ever since.
When you were going through school, was that something you were thinking about doing, or were you, because you were an airline, you were a
Yes.
engineer for the airlines at some point.
That's
first.
correct, yes, and I always wanted to get into law enforcement, even though I do have my degree in mechanical engineering.
It seemed to me the FBI is one of those organizations that can take people from various parts of society and bring them in and make them efficient within the FBI.
That is correct, because we in the FBI we want well-rounded experience and a diverse experience coming in because of the various crimes that are out there that we work. You need people or agents and intel analysts and professional staff from all types of backgrounds.
Well, let's talk a little bit about here and now. What are some of the top priorities you think for the FBI Houston division right now?
Well, number one is counterterrorism. We're also involved in public corruption, counterintelligence, various types of white-collar crimes, gangs, and violent crime. But violent crimes right now here in Houston is what we are focused on. Not that we're not focusing on the other crimes.
Sure.
We have to know how to walk and chew gum at the same time, and that's something I say quite a bit within the field office. But we have to really look at what's going on right now in Houston and around the country with violent crimes. It's really uncomfortable right now.
How does that work with you, FBI and other agencies? So how does that work that you work together on this kind of, because it's a big project?
Oh yeah, with our local partners here, and I should say local and state partners, we are in lockstep. So they, meaning like the state and local police departments, they have what we call task force officers on our task forces, where we work together in resolving these crimes. And this is across all federal agencies, regardless of which one it is. There's task forces present that we address all types of crimes, not just violent crimes, but we have the Joint Terrorism Task Force. We have a cyber task force. So we work hand in hand with our partners when it comes to the various crimes.
When you talk about violent crimes, the gangs are a big part of that, are they not? I mean, do you focus on that, or is that something that the local do, or is that FBI as well?
We focus on gangs. We focus a lot on gangs right now, because some of the times, I shouldn't say some, but several times, the gangs are involved in some of these violent crimes that are out there. And they'll take various types of opportunities to basically fund their gangs or fund their lives. So it's just a different world when you look at gangs and how they operate and how they relates to criminal activity.
We've seen how in recent years, the political environment we're in now, certain politicians have called into question sometimes the integrity of the FBI. Just this week, a lawsuit was filed by USA Gymnasts as a result of what they say the ball was dropped from their investigations regarding Larry Nassar, who's now a convicted sexual predator. Internal FBI documents show that the ball was dropped along the way, somewhere along the way. This is one of the challenges of morale that could be a morale issue within the FBI. What are some of the challenges of you and other leaders in the FBI to make sure that the men and women of your organization hold their heads up high and know that they are, in fact, the elite agency that they have always been?
Well, throughout the history of the FBI, so over 100 years now, there's been hiccups along the way. We learn how to adjust, put the corrective actions in place, put the correct training in place so that we learn from our mistakes. It's no different than any type of profession. We learn from our mistakes as we go along. And so this is one of several that we've had in the past. I mean, we'll have some more going forward in the future. There will be some mistakes, but we will learn from it. But at the end of the day, we have to ensure that we protect the American public. Regardless of what it is, regardless of the threat, we are here to protect the American people.
You talked quickly earlier about cyber, and I want to touch on that a bit because I know that with what's going on in Ukraine right now, there's a heightened awareness that maybe Russia might be up to something, even without the international or the national organizations or other countries getting involved. What kind of challenge is that? Because it seems to be the more social media is involved, the more cyber, it seems to be elevating and getting more of a problem across the country.
And that is true. You're 100% correct. Cyber is a challenge right now, especially when we'll say the adversary is international overseas. So you don't get the same cooperation from some of these countries. But I would say, yes, Russia is one that we're concerned with, but there's other countries too, China, Iran, and North Korea. There are other countries that are also involved in the threats that would love to degrade and disparage the United States. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter if it's our infrastructure or if it's a normal corporation or if it's our police and fire. They are continually targeting the various aspects of the United States.
We're just starting to get going here with your time here in Houston. What does it look like? You think a year or so or 2 years from now, what does success look like for you? What do you think you're going to use as a definition?
The success is that we are targeting the violent crime and that the murder rates and all decrease. I mean, already within the United States, there's been, I believe it's around 139 police officers killed. We've had 2 here killed due to adversary firearms or, say, attacks. As that number decreases, that's what I consider success. I've also looked at how we arm our private sector partners to ensure that they have all the right information to protect themselves from foreign countries, whether it be cyber and all, along with terrorism. We have to stay ahead of the game when it comes to terrorists. That is very important to us. So success is more or less ensure that we're out in the public, ensure that we are working with our partners and to protect the city of Houston and to the country.
Well, I look forward to you having a successful tenure, of meeting all of those definitions there going forward. Thank you for sitting down with us first here in Houston. We love the fact that you've done that. I look forward to this being the first of many opportunities. As I mentioned to you before we started, my granddaughter is going to his alma mater now, and so that means we're connected.
Great.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it very much. Look forward to seeing you back here again.